Great, we are live.
Yes, hello everyone. I imagine that you either watch it through your phone or your laptop, and if you have your phone, imagine that you are searching to go somewhere to meet Stuart or me, and you don't know where is the somewhere. And that is the example that I normally use. Oh, you can see that the Google asking what is that like, because they don't see or they don't hear the destination that you put in. And when we don't have that destination, we don't have that clarity of where we want to go, we don't know how much effort and time energy we put out there. So today the topic is about goals, and it not only goals but about setting goals to achieve, not about setting goals but then leave it there. So I have my mentor, my dear friend, dear mentor, and I'm always thankful to know him when I started my new career, changing from engineering to coaching, training, and writing. So Stuart, you can say something to our audience.
Hi, Jen. Good to see you. Good to be here. Thanks for inviting me on to your Facebook Live and your podcast. Yeah, it's really great. And hello to everybody that's watching, listening, watching the recording. Thanks for watching as well. Yeah, we're going to be talking about goals. We're going to be talking about the power of purpose behind goals. And Jen and I have, discussed. Oh, we've spent so many hours talking about goal setting, goal achieving, speaking, teaching, helping people achieve more, be more productive, right? I mean, I think we've known each other, gosh, maybe 5 or 6 years when we were both living in
So long
Bristol,
ago.
in southwest England, long time ago. Neither of us there anymore, but that's where we met when we met at Toastmasters, didn't we? The international speaker.
Okay. So hi on the
Yeah.
Toastmaster here. Yeah.
Yeah, hi to all the Toastmasters watching. Love the organization, love what we learned there. Yeah.
Wow. So I still remember one thing that Stuart told me that I always remind myself. He would say, "Are you playing safe, Jen?" And yeah, it reminded me that when I changed my career, I thought about limiting myself and I didn't even maybe realize it. So Stewart was there and motivated in a very practical way with a great question, and I listened to his training over and over again, and it actually has a name that's quite close to the topic today. So I think having Stewart to talk about this topic is just like cannot be better. So, what is the program that you are working on, Stuart? You can share with people before we jump into specific questions.
Yeah, sure. I mean, what I am is a personal development mentor and speaker, and I work with Bob Proctor, who a lot of you will probably know of. He's been a leader in personal development in North America. Oh gosh, for over 50 years now. Was in The Secret, the movie and the book The Secret. I think that's what grew his popularity and brought a lot of people to him. But he's leaving a legacy of teaching other people how to teach the material, how to teach the formulas, the principles of success, basically. So I'm a consultant with his company teaching his program, which is called Thinking into Results. And it's a 6-month program that teaches people exactly that. How do we need to think to be able to get the results we want in life? What do we need to think and do differently to be able to achieve our biggest goals? And it really is about mindset. You can have all the strategies that you in the world, but they don't work if the person using them doesn't have the right mindset to achieve. Actually, it's really about belief, isn't it, Jane? You've got to believe in your goals. You've got to believe in your destiny. You've got to believe you're capable of achieving what you want.
Lovely. Thank you for sharing that. And I will go into that deeper with more questions. And I still remember that you had a wonderful technique, if people call it, which is a business card and you have your goal in it. And it's so visual that we cannot ignore it because like we open it our wallet and we see the business card and here we go. So it was very beautiful. A lot of people in the seminar loved that, and a lot of people met you and they applied it, and I think it increased their consistency and how they work towards their goals. So to set the context of today's conversation, like why are we talking about it? because a lot of people will say, why do I need goals? Because normally people set it and they so excited about it at the beginning of the year, and then they drop, and then they started thinking goal setting actually not working. And even myself, I still sometimes like, why I'm doing this kind of thing. But then I also want to acknowledge that if we don't even have the goals, we don't even know where we want to hit to, then we will just rambling around and we're gonna get distracted by randomness. Some kind of randomness maybe is a great thing, but it has to align with some kind of main goals and core values or the impact we want to create. So still, like, could you share, especially in this time, in the chaos and in the uncertainty world, like especially with the pandemic last year, there's a lot of changes happen and a lot of goals might not be met by people because of the situation change. So could you share, how could we actually set goals that even uncertainty or all the unexpected things, like big unexpected things happen, we still tend to move forward to be a person we want to be when we set that goals, which means we want to be somebody or be better us. So how can we actually set it effectively?
Yeah. Let me take a half step back there and just go back to what you were saying about playing safe. People in a time, challenging times like this with the pandemic, some people are giving up on their goals. Some people are thinking they can't do what they want to do. Some people are thinking that the circumstances in the world prevent them, and they start to play safe. They start to withdraw. And yeah, I love that you remember that. Let's not play safe. Let's never play safe. Let's actually grow. Let's go for more. Let's challenge ourselves. Even in challenging times, we can still set our goals. We can still go after them, and we shouldn't give up. We shouldn't let the outside world dictate to us what we want to do, what we can do. That's what most people do. That's why people won't set goals, because they may have tried it and failed. Something's gone wrong. They maybe don't believe in themselves, or they don't believe the circumstances are right. You see, what I teach, what we teach, is that the goals come from within. You have a feeling, a sense of who you want to be, what you want to do. But for most people, they don't act on their goals. They don't really set them. They don't act on their dreams, shall we say. They don't set goals to achieve their dreams because they have this second thought that maybe I'm not good enough, maybe I can't do it. And definitely this time, these unprecedented times that we're living inside of, lots of people are thinking, I can't do it. This is the perfect time to be setting goals. This is the perfect time to be challenging yourself, because here's the thing about goals, and we're talking about big goals, right? We're talking about dreams. We're talking about something substantial, not short-term goals. A goal is to grow. A goal isn't just to get something. A goal is to grow, because all human beings, all life on earth is growing. All people have this sense, this inner sense that they want to be more, do more, have more. They want to grow. So the goal, the purpose of the goal, is to help you grow. It's to help you draw on something inside of you didn't know you had. It's to be able to challenge yourself to be more. The idea of setting a goal is simply to project yourself into the future and live the future you want to live, instead of, like you say, living some random future, living some random life that just shows up. Yes, you can drift and life will happen, but not on your terms. So goals are about creating the future that you want, not just drifting randomly into the future that is unsatisfying. Now, having said all that, was there a second question in there that I didn't answer?
Well, no, actually, I wanted to dig a bit deeper in what you said. It was so beautiful. Actually, goals are not the goals. So, okay, so let's make it more specific. Goals are not about the goals, but it's about the person you become when you achieve the goal. So actually, we just use the goals as a kind of tools to measure the growth, as you said, and you made it so beautifully by saying the goals helps us to draw out or unleash the potential that we don't see it in the reality yet, and to get to that certain level, which means we had to become a certain kind of person that we are not feeling strongly yet. So one of the examples that I often share with you, and I think with a lot of people that I want to even emphasize and demonstrate for that, is like I was a silent kid. I was so kind of grumpy and thinking people didn't understand me, and because of that people said I was ugly, right? And then I had that kind of image in my mind that I wanted to be a smiley person, and that was the kind of very cute girl, right? Like a smiley person. So because of that image in my mind, so I taught myself to keep smiling. And another goal was to go abroad to expand my knowledge and to learn more from other people. And I could even see myself walking in the UK or in some streets in Spain. So all of the countries that I went, I could actually feel it somehow before. So, and to become that person, to get that, we had to put effort to get a certain level of skills and confidence and leadership. So yeah, could you share like what would be the effective way of really getting that goal? Because you talk about why we need goals, the importance of it. So how can people actually set it, and should people change it on in during the way if they don't see it effectively?
Yeah, what kind of goals should you set? It's always a good question. And how do you achieve it? And you were alluding to that there, imagination. Everything gets created twice. Everything in this world gets created twice. Once in somebody's imagination, and then once in the physical reality. You know, you have to imagine it first. You won't do anything. You won't go to Spain. You won't go to the UK if you don't imagine it first. But if you imagine it, then it makes you want to do something about it. So imagination is so important. We should be setting a goal that excites us and probably scares us at the same time. We should be setting goals that we don't know how to achieve. Might sound a bit strange, but if you think about it, if the goal's big enough, you won't know how to do it. Otherwise, you'd already be doing it. And if it isn't, if you do know how to do it, it's not big enough. It's not big enough to help you grow. So we want to be setting goals that inspire us. We want to set goals that we don't know how to achieve, but be on purpose. Have the goal be part of a bigger purpose in your life. The way to find the really big goal that changes you, transforms you, is to think about, what's my purpose? What am I up to in the world? What am I building? Who do I want to be? What do I want to do? What do I love doing? What would I love to do? What's my purpose? What do I think is my purpose in this lifetime? And for a lot of us in the coaching industry, you know, it's about serving other people. It's about helping other people. It's about awakening other people to what you said, the unknown potential within us. So that's the place to look. And then once you have that purpose, you start to think about what that will look like. You know, when you change careers, you're thinking, you're imagining, you're discovering in your imagination first the idea of who you'd like to be and what you'd like to be doing in the world. That becomes your vision for your life. And out of the vision, then you understand, well, how am I going to live that? How am I going to make that happen? Then you have goals to set. And typically one big goal as well that we always want to write down. That's part of how we achieve our goals, writing them down so we stay connected to them. Because here's something important about a really big goal. Part of our mind will tell us we're not good enough to achieve it. Who are you to think you can do that? Well, actually, if you thought of it in the first place, that is who you are, the person you can become. So we need to always be connected with our goal, recreate it, have it written down somewhere. We need to write the goal down, right?
Yeah, so absolutely. I remember we all always also use another example of myself. Like I never wrote down the goals of becoming like financial independent, and I had been struggling with that compared to the goals that I have achieved. It was because I had so strong, compelling emotional connection with that. So you talked about the very important one is to actually have the goals linking with the purpose, the vision, the core values. And one of the ways to measure how the goals excite us is the goals have to be very challenging in a way. And when we actually talking about it, we will have to feel like, oh my God, it's gonna be, so maybe, and other people may say like, oh, it's impossible. So the great side, right? So most of my goals when I was a kid, like people said that it was impossible, and I thought it was a great test. And now I look back, I know that, but at that time I probably like a bit struggle. So now I think it's any kind of goals that we set, if we don't feel that like scary or afraid of, which means we are that's in our comfort zone. And you also mentioned about like we have to write down and visualize it. So could you share a specific habit of writing it down, like how often, and how can we actually writing down to motivate our action? Because only writing down but not taking action, it's gonna be hard.
Yeah, no, we were always going to be taking action. I'm just reaching out here to see if I have a goal card. Yeah, I do. What are we really doing with that, writing it out? Why is it important? Because there's a part of the mind, as I said, that will always try to take us back to the comfort zone and encourage us to think that we're not good enough, we're not going to be able to do it. And that's what stops us taking action as well. Why do we procrastinate? Because there's a part of the mind that's trying to tell us we're not good enough or we shouldn't go there. So writing it down is really important because there are two things. One is it connects you with your goal every day if you read what you've written down, and you should. And the other is it actually sends a message, a directive to the deeper subconscious part of your mind that this is what you want to achieve. So we write our goal down in 1 or 2 sentences, and we put it on a small card, and we read that every day, because what that is, it's an instruction to the subconscious mind that this is what I want to achieve. This is important to me. And it should be in the present tense, as if we've already achieved it. Otherwise, we're forever working on it and not taking enough action. So let me show you an example of a goal card, first of all, for those wondering what we're talking about. So on one side, it's just some reminder, this is just marketing. On the other side, it would be blank, several lines where you would write out what your goal is. So, and we have a little phrase there, we need emotion. We need to have an emotional connection to it. So we use a simple phrase of I'm happy and grateful. Now that I'm a best-selling author, now that I'm a millionaire lecturer, now that I'm whatever it is you want to be, put it in the present tense, write it on the card, read the card at least twice a day, but more often. Once when you get up in the morning, once before you go to bed at night, because that's when the subconscious mind is most receptive to the idea that this is who I want to become. Reading it often, carrying it with you, being connected to it, so important. There's plenty of personal development leaders around the world that will tell you that studies have shown that people who write down their goals are more likely to achieve them than those who don't. Well, there's a good reason for it. It keeps you connected to the goal, and it makes you think about taking action. So the more you read it, what happens is you get a picture on your mind, on the screen of your mind. You start to imagine, you start to visualize, you start to think in pictures about the future that you want, the goal that you want to achieve. That creates an emotion. You see, when we think often and when we picture, we get emotions come with it. Emotions, all thoughts have emotions attached to them. So the more you're thinking positive emotions, the more positive you feel. But the more you're thinking about your goal, the stronger the emotions become. And those emotions will eventually inspire you, motivate you to take action. So you should always be thinking about, what action do I need to take? What could I take to achieve my goal? What are my goal achieving actions I could take today when I'm feeling inspired? Now, I say when I'm feeling inspired. Yes, you can take action when you're not, but the better results come from taking action when you're inspired. How do I get inspired? By being emotionally connected to the goal. If you're not inspired, you're forcing yourself to take action. Now, that will get you some way, but it won't get you all the way there. You've got to be in alignment, emotionally aligned to the goal to be able to be motivated to take the right action that delivers the right results. And that means you've got to believe in it as well as being inspired.
So the key word you have repeated is the emotion part, and I myself have experienced the emotion, but negative emotion. So it's even more dangerous when we have negative emotional connection with the things that we actually want to achieve. So having no emotion, maybe even barrier, because negative emotion even make us stay away from it, not even think
Yeah.
about taking action, or maybe taking the opposite action. So could
Yeah.
you share how can you create that right emotion
Mm,
or the connection emotionally with the goals? And
mm,
maybe it come back to whether the goals really matter to us, and
yeah.
whether there's some belief behind it. So can you share on that part?
Yeah. No, that's so true. Yes. Negative emotions are just as powerful as positive emotions, and negative emotions will do what we're talking about. They'll scare you into not taking action. They will make you feel like not doing what you know you should do. They will cause you to be scared of taking the action you know you need to take to get the result. So people procrastinate because they don't like doing certain things. They'll
Mhm.
find something else to do. And that's because we have a negative emotion around certain action. So yeah, we need to be creating a positive, enthusiastic, passionate feeling for our goal. So purpose, that's why purpose is so important. It connects us with our passion. It unleashes the passion for it. You know,
Mhm.
fall in love with the goal. Do something that you know you would love if you were doing it. So the trick, really, I think the technique has got to be imagining in the future, thinking from what, there's an author, I'll quote him in a minute, but thinking from the end result, thinking from the outcome. So there's a spiritual author called Neville Goddard who wrote The Power of Awareness, a very powerful book if you can get it.
Mm.
And he's always talking about assume that you've already achieved it. Assume that they are the person who can achieve the goal. What does that feel like? Put yourself in the future, having achieved the goal, become the person you really want to be, and feel what that's like. And then bring that feeling back to the present moment to inspire you to take the action. Because you're right, we've got to be inspired. We've got to be inspired emotionally by positive feelings. That's why I said belief is so important. We've got to believe we can do this. Napoleon Hill, the great author of Think and Grow Rich, said, no one's ready for a thing unless they believe. The state of mind must be belief. If you don't believe it, you can't receive the thing that you want.
Mm.
It's really hard to earn the money that perhaps some coaches and consultants would like to earn. They're not in a state of total belief. Yes, they love the goal, they're passionate about it, they're passionate about what they do, but they've not generated the belief at a deep subconscious level that allows them to receive what they're worthy of from all the work they're doing. So two sides of this, very emotional, very passionate. We want to create a positive emotion, a positive feeling about the goal. And we do that by imagining ourselves already having achieved it. What does that feel like? Bring it back to the present moment.
Okay, lovely. So ending might in the book like 7 habits, or talking about connecting the dot, right? So we're not letting the past decide the emotion or decide what connect with the goal. So as you said, like in my case, for example, right, there's a lot of limiting belief about finance and money coming from childhood, and I think the society has created a lot of limiting belief around that. So people tend to get influenced by it and like negatively connect with that. And if we need to think about the ending goals, as you said, and thinking about if we make that great impact with that, like sustainable finance, how does it look like? So beautiful. How can people actually write down the goals? So you're talking about if we write the goals, we tend to teach our subconscious mind, especially when we have emotional connection with that. But the act of writing goals is actually a habit. How can a person actually get that habit like going? So
Mm,
I found like even that's simple, right? We know that
yeah.
okay, you will write goals every day, but it's a habit, and it actually it needs to start somewhere and maintain it.
Yeah. No, that's brilliant. You know, it's like, yes, okay, I get this is what I have to do, but I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel like starting. It's a decision. So you have to decide what it is I really want, and then decide, make a committed decision to do it. So for example, this year, with a group of 30 other people, I committed to get up at 5:30 in the morning, even in the middle of a UK winter, a northern winter, commit to get up at 5:30 in the morning to start studying together and discussing our work together and a book that we're following at 6 o'clock. And we're
Mm-hmm.
together for an hour. but I have to get up at 5:30. I'm not a morning person, is what I believed. I don't want to do this, commit to this for 6 months, every day for 6 months. I really don't want to do that. My beliefs are, I'm not a morning person. I'll never be able to do this. I'll be too tired.
Oh.
I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to create that habit. But you're right. I want to create a new habit. That's one thing. I want to experience have the experience of creating a very powerful habit. I had to make a decision. Yes, I'm going to do this. And then I had to decide to change my belief. So now I choose the belief from day one. I'm a morning person. I can work very well, effectively on 6 hours sleep a day. I've not got a problem. Now, the old beliefs will show up, but I'm not listening to those anymore. I don't think them. So you create a habit, you begin a habit by doing something you don't like doing. You do it because you've got a reason for doing it, and you make a decision, I'm going to do it. And then you ignore the little voice that tells you why you can't do it. That's how you create a new habit, because you want it enough.
Lovely. That's awesome, right? So it really comes back to, we had to keep visiting the ending goal or the ending vision or the vision. We see the person we become, and we know that how does it look like, and what is the feeling, or what are the feelings there, and then what we need to really do to get there, right? And as you said, normally you start from something we never done it before, and if we don't actually have that kind of struggling, which means maybe it is still very in our comfort zone, right? So you talk about very beautiful thing, like you are not a morning person. And I heard that a lot of times. I hear it from people over and over again. And yeah, I sometimes I smile, but I also tell myself, okay, I have to really understand where they come from. But yeah, if they think it's important enough, as you said, maybe they will say, oh, why am I a morning person? Why I'm not a morning person? So we always have to really watch what we say, and then asking what is important here. Is this that kind of identity I told myself, or is it the goals is important? So I'm really curious about that 30 people group that you said. That's powerful.
Yeah. 40 people getting up at 5:30 in the morning to study together and share ideas and insights. And you're right, though, it's a belief. It's not a truth. There's no such thing as a morning person and a night person. That's a belief that we choose because of fear. For me, it's a fear of not having enough energy to get through the day if I didn't have enough sleep. That's not true.
Yeah, so next time I will try to get you on the show in the early morning.
Sure. I'm up at 5:30, although I'm busy at 6.
Okay, that's okay. So I have a belief that I'm a non-morning person, but I also have the belief that if I need to be awake at night, I can also be a night person. So actually, it happens like last year. We did like 6 days training of Tony Robbins. I think I told you, and it was like overnight in Vietnam town. It was like 10 p.m. and people said until 10 a.m. the next day, but it lasted until 2 p.m. the next day. So it was crazy, right? If you do like personal development seminars, you may know like it never ends, because actually people don't want to end. So we, like all of us, 4 people who help with the interpretation, we never told ourselves that we are a night person. So I had a friend, he said like he even never stayed late to take care of his daughter, never ever. But he said like he gonna change his belief about it and do it this time. So that is a great example of actually everything is just what we say ourselves, and if it's something important enough, we can actually make it happen. And that was a great example that happened like in last year 2020 December. So thank you for that, and I'm very excited about your group, and I love to hear about that next time. So we have goals, and we know the importance of it, and we know how to actually create habits to reinforce the goals and turn it to become action. So what else actually stop us during the journey, especially when something happened unexpectedly, like we had to change our priority in our life, like last year?
Sure. The thing is, if you know what your goal is and you know what your purpose is and you set your goal and you commit to it, you never change the goal, but you might have to change the plan to get there. So we always need a definite plan for getting there. I said earlier, you don't need to know how to achieve the goal when you set it, but you do need to start creating a plan of action to get you there so you know what you're doing. And sometimes we get thrown off course, but we never quit on the goal. You know, Napoleon Hill, once again, whatever the mind can conceive and believe, it can achieve through persistence. You never quit. Persistence is one of the key words here for achieving anything. You keep going. Yes, you may get diverted. You may get slowed down for a while. But if the goal's in your heart and it's aligned with your purpose, you never quit on it. You never give up on it. You keep going. You will get there. We don't know how long it will take to get there, but we know we will get there if we feel that it's on purpose and we want it enough and we're not going to quit. So yeah, if you've taken on detours by unusual circumstances in the world, manage them. Do what you can. Not always is there something to do. Sometimes we pause, sometimes we rest, sometimes we recover, regroup, and go again. You know, I think we'll always talk about the first people to climb Mount Everest. Before Sir Edmund Hillary got there, many people had tried and failed. Many people have failed. But humanity, people never stopped trying, and eventually one person, two people got there together, got to the top, because they never quit. They never gave up believing it was possible. But for a while, the mountain fought back and didn't allow human beings to reach the top. But once someone had done it, then everybody believed it was possible and started to realize they could achieve it. They could get to the top. They could get to, what's the top? What's your mountain? What's your peak that you want to go to? Think about that. Believe it's possible. Commit to doing it and never quit. And you will get there.
Lovely. So it sounds impossible when it's not in the reality, but we consistently think and imagine and connect it with positive emotion, and we take action toward it, and it turned out that we will make it become the reality. And in your saying, like, there's one way that we can actually think about that example and seeing that normally it is not possible in reality, but normally it will become possible when we consistently move a little bit forward every day. So
it becomes possible in our imagination. Yeah. Sorry, but
yeah, so that's true. Like, so how can people, because the reason I'm kind of mumbling around it, because I found like I was also struggling when having a really big thinking, and I believe that every one of us has to really level it up, our belief about ourselves, thinking bigger for ourselves. But then sometimes we'll limit ourselves by kind of seeing other people who get there, and the distance or the gaps so huge. So let's say when I started getting into personal development, right, and I was so resonated at the beginning with Brandon, and later on like Tony Robbins. So Brandon was before Tony Robbins, and then Wayne Dyer, and then like Jim Jones. And then if we actually started our journey and we looked at the people who started there for 20 years or even like 15 years or almost 100 years. So then maybe sometimes we're going to feel a little bit like little about ourselves. So how can we actually overcome that kind of overthinking and maybe seeing other people so way up in the mountain and we just get started? So how can we actually overcome that kind of limiting thoughts?
Yeah, so the big gap between where we are and where we want to go, we close that by actually focusing on what we can do today. So we're inspired by the future, by the vision, by the top of the mountain, by where we're going, by where other people have gone. But we come back to today and do what we are inspired by. We do what we love to do today that we think will take us there. So part of that is learning from others, learning from those that have already gone there and listen to them and just absorb all the teaching, study. To study increases our awareness of who we are. It increases our awareness of what's possible and grows our belief. But what can you do today? What's the small thing you could be doing today that you enjoy doing? You know, when you were starting out, you loved speaking. You didn't care how many people you spoke to. If you had a room of 2 or 3 people, that was enough because you were passionate about speaking. We've got to begin at the beginning. We can't begin halfway through. Enjoy the journey. Don't be in a rush to get there. Enjoy the journey. Do what you love to do. Be willing to do it, and the path will unfold. Now, the other thing to be asking is asking curious questions about how am I going to get there? What could I be doing? How am I going to do this? Not out of desperation or need, but out of curiosity. What should I do next? What could I do next? What would I love to do? How am I going to get there? And then listen intuitively for the answers, the ideas that will come, and be excited about the ideas that show up in your mind and act on those. Act on ideas when they come. If you like the idea, take action on that idea because it will lead you to where you're going. When you get there, the journey will have been, hopefully you'll have enjoyed it. It will have been worth it. It will have been so worth everything that you put in, all the struggle, all the growth. So know that you're going to get there and then work on what you can today. But work on something you enjoy.
Mm-hmm.
That will keep you inspired on the journey.
Mm-hmm. So like thinking big and start small, like single step every single day, right? Or maybe there's a lot of other theories like 1% better every day. So what can we do today to actually being better compared to yesterday? But as you said, coming from the place of gratitude, not a place of lacking. Like I was there and I was in the place of always feeling like one more, one more, one more. And that is not a great starting point. It was great, but it got to the point if we don't heal it and we don't restart with a gratitude and feeling enough and then continue, then the hole of not enough will get bigger. So thank you
It
on
does.
that note.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And one other thing I would say is that I always tell people if they've got the goal set and they know they want to be working on it, always have 6 goal achieving activities you can do tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
Because if you get inspired, you want to know what to do, is this, that you have something to do.
Mm-hmm.
Do at least one of them. You don't have to do all 6, but have 6 goal achieving activities that will get you closer to your goal that you could be doing right now.
Mm-hmm. Lovely. So I think I'm gonna wrap up today, but I like to have one question because I think myself, maybe some of people here, so they have, I don't know if they have been struggling with that, but I got this question also from my team sending to you. How many goals should we set? And like, so they have a lot of different areas in their life. They have health, they have career, they have relationships. So yeah, how can we achieve all of this?
Yeah, in the beginning, don't overwhelm yourself by setting too many goals in too many different areas. Yes, we should be working on something in all areas of our life. But you should have one big goal, one life-defining goal, and that's more based on our purpose. To have one big thing that you're moving towards constantly that really gets you excited, makes you feel fulfilled, is going to transform you and therefore your life. Now, we can also have smaller goals in other areas of our life. So, you could have a goal to get fit in some way and be healthy, but that might not be your main goal because you may not be someone who wants to teach health or fitness or wellness, but you should still have a goal. You could have a goal in that area. But if we set too many big goals for ourselves, we don't work on any of them. We're bouncing around from one to the other, and therefore nothing really moves, nothing really gets accomplished. One big goal that's your life purpose, that's going to move you, that's on purpose, that's going to move you towards the future that you want to live and help you grow. But you can have short-term goals, smaller goals. You can have a few goal cards, but you should have one major goal that you're always working towards. That's the important goal that's going to help you grow.
Lovely. And I think there's a keyword there, and it may help us to really identify what is the biggest goal, or let's say the most important or main goal that drives other goals. So let's say in my case, I believe that area of health and career, passion, or community development, there's always the main goal, and all of the other thing is like a ecosystem around it. And I think I have learned a lot from you on that part. And there's one example that I like to end today, and then maybe you can add the note on that. Is you looked at my goals one time and you said like, when you scale it from 0 to 10, right? At that time we was like kind of doing the exercise on measuring the goals and also identify the main goals to drive the other goals. So I was rating something like 6 out of 10, if I remember correctly. And you was looking at that and you say like, this is a 10 of 2017 because we was in 2017, or it is a 10 of actually 2025 or later on. So it was like, yeah. So maybe we always kind of narrow down or limit ourselves, and the scale of 10 of this year, we think it doesn't mean that it's going to be the scale of 10 in 5 years. So I remember that this was awesome. So can you share a little bit about that?
Oh, yeah, I have a kind of memory about that. I think I can even picture where we're having that conversation. Yeah, when we typically ask that kind of question, where are you on a scale of 1 to 10? We want to be hearing a 10. We want to be hearing that somebody is passionate about it, really wants it. And it's okay to say, it's 6, 7, because then we can inquire into, why aren't you a 10? What's holding you back? What's in the way? What are your beliefs that are going to stop you and sabotage you? So part of that is just to test our own desire, strength of purpose and desire for the goal. And being honest with ourselves. When we're honest, we can feel whether we're going to achieve it or not, or there's something in the way. Then we can work on that. And you won't necessarily say 10. I'm up for it. I'm ready. I'm there. I'm already on the way. No, we will typically dial it back a little bit, limit ourselves, and that's a good thing, because then we can discover what we need to change, what we need to work on, what new paradigms we need to create to be able to make sure that we do achieve the goal.
Well, actually, the conversation is more like you said that the 10 of 2017, it is different from the 10 of 2025. Okay, so which means, yeah, maybe I was kind of
we grow. Today, who I am today is not capable of, is not the person I'll be in 5 years who sees further into the future. So today we can only see so far into the future. Once we move through the future, 1, 2, 5, 10 years down the road, we see something more. And it's grown because we've grown. We've grown in awareness of what we're capable of. Our dreams become bigger. So yes, who I am today is not the person I'll be in 5 years' time. So yes, the number that I'm giving out today is not a match for, it's not even as big as the 6 or 10 that you'll be in 5 years' time. That's you're right.
Absolutely. And I think that is perfect to really end today. But I saw a keyword, which is purpose. And I would like to have you back on the talk on purpose, because that is a kind of myth for so many people. And everyone will say like, what is my purpose? And there was a time where because of that, a lot of people getting lost. But I believe that one of the purpose that everyone has, and actually that's why if anyone is watching it here or later, every one of us has in common is the purpose of growing to be better every single day. So I think that is our daily purpose, but for sure there's a purpose in the other context. So I would like to hear and to discover about it with you in the next talk. So the reason I ended with that kind of example about the 10 of 2017 and the 10 of 2025 or even later, because we cannot imagine how much potential we actually have. So even we are thinking big right now, and Stuart is working, helping people to do that and turn it to become results. But then we always gonna go there, and we know that we even can get to a next level. But for sure, with the gratitude mindset, it's not about lacking up. So thank you so much, because one of my gratitudes always is to know Stuart and his work. So we'd love to have you back, and all the best on 2021 with more impacts, have more people to think into results.
Thank you, Jen. Yeah, I look forward to coming back as well. Yeah, it's been a great conversation, and purpose is such an important topic as well. But yeah, thank you, Jen. It's been great.
Yep. Have a great 2021, everyone.